Alright, so we got the car lifted up. I didn't raise it up really high because the higher you get, the more things you're going to have to stack up to support all this. So I got it to where I can get up under it pretty good. But the wheels are off, as you can see. So we got the wheels took off. It's important to give us some access to the control arm, sway bar, stuff like that. So next on the list is taking the covers off the bottom. Switch over, and there should be a couple here, but I only got one left. I'm going to take this off. And out slides. Front cover do that. So then we move to the back one. And that comes down. Alright, so now next comes this one. So we can take that loose, and that's going to expose a lot of the motor down there. We're going to run these off the easy way. And there is our support shoe. Alright, so next on the list is the sway bar. We'll start with the power steering line. Get that dropped off. Sway bar link, we'll loosen these up. Let's switch out before we take the top ones off. We'll switch out and take the end links out. Now, most likely it's going to rotate in there, which it's doing. So in the end of it, it's got torques. What we want to do is find the right torque fit that fits it. And we're going to do the same on this side. We'll break it free first. BMW does make it nice about putting something on the ends of the little joints so that you can remove those without tearing things up. Alright, so now we got our sway bar bolts loose. There we go. Now all we got to do is take the top ones off. And we should have this little animal off here. hang loose. Off comes the sway bar. There we go. So now our sway bar is out and the power steering line is hanging free. Now we want to do the suspension, which means we got to take this loose from the mount and we got to take this one loose from the mount. But in order to do that, we need to take this cover off the line. It's pretty simple. It's just got a few bolts. You'll see where they come off it, so I'll just take those off, set them aside. Then we'll drop our end links for our power steering rack. And then the last thing we need to do on the power steering is right up in here. Probably can't see it, but you can see where my hand's pointing. Is the bolt that connects the steering wheel column down to the rack. And so we'll have to take that loose. Alright, so next on the list is the control arm and all this. So we'll just start on this side. So let's see if we can break it loose on this end. Without it spinning, maybe. What we'll do is put these bolts, nuts back on this. Came loose, but now we got to pop up. Let's put the nut back on. There we go. That's free. Now we got to do this end. This is going to take a 18. Alright, so we got that loose. Before we do taking this one off, we want something to kind of hold against these so we can crank these off. So before I take those completely out, I'm going to break these free and make sure I can get them loose. 24. One. And then this control arm we can take off right here. We should be able to pivot it around so we don't have to take it loose on the ball. But this one has to come off because the whole steering rack's going to come down. This one comes off because it's connected up here. So it's usually pretty easy. In order to get this one off though, you got to disconnect this little sensor right here. You got to reach back in here behind it. Yep. So we're just going to take him loose and put his little nut on him. So he's out of the way. So now this one will come loose and this one will come loose. So we already got this one loose. This one we need to go ahead and pop out. And so it sometimes takes a little negotiation. Sometimes you can just put a wrench on it, take it a few times and it'll square it up. So then it can come out of there. There we go. So now this one's got to come loose and this one's got to come loose. So let's go ahead and break this one free while we're at it. And then we should be in pretty good shape on this side. Let's go ahead and give her a wrench on it. come with it. There we go. So there's the whole sensor bracket and everything comes off with that bolt. So we can let her hang free. I'll put the bolt back on it. And it's not very heavy, so we'll just set it up in here. Hopefully it'll hang out up there for us. So then this one comes down and it'll twist around to the side. So now we got this one to come out. And hopefully he's going to come out for us. Depends on how hard it is to get out of there. Let that hang there ever so precariously. Now maybe he'll cooperate. And so it always runs over this metal thing. So you have to kind of get that flexed out of the way. Then you just rock it forward and pull it out. So let's just hang that back up there so it doesn't hang on its wires. We should be okay. So this is our passenger side. So now we want to do the very same thing on the driver's side. So let's scoot over to the driver's side. Get you a different view. And then we're going to repeat this process. Now that the arms are loose, that and pull it down. So now he's out of the way. The other side we ought to be able to do that as well. There we go. So we got the other side out as well. Not on camera, but you probably heard it, so you know what that sound was. Was the threads coming out. Alright, little by little. So now we won't have to worry about losing our nut. Now all we got to do is go up to the input shaft and take that one bolt loose, and then also if it has the little connector, we'll look up there to see. It has a little connector on it for the steering angle sensor. Then we'll have to pull that loose as well. Just pop that connector off. So we'll head up there and see if we can get this finished up. All right, so now we're here for the input shaft and also this little connector. So we got a little connector right here. It has to come off. So you squeeze him, he comes loose. And then we got to get in here with this one, and it takes a strange little bit. It's a female Torx. And it's a bit tight to get in there. Maybe I gotta get a swivel. Let's try it with a swivel. There we go. So this little bolt has to come all the way out. And now we'll be able to slide the shaft up. Now the steering wheel is locked right now, so see, it only goes that far. But that moves your joint. So you want to make sure you don't move your steering, or else you'll knock your steering out of position. You just have to raise up on it. And it has some room to push. And it'll push off of that input shaft. Sometimes they're a bit of a pain to push up. We'll come at it from the bottom side. A little easier that way. we go. So see how that works. That lines up with this little dog right there. And so what we want to do is make sure we don't move that, because when we took it off, it was lined up this with this. And see, it rotates. And so we want to make sure that that little black thing is still lined up when we put this back together, because that'll fit into the grooves right there, and then that'll make sure our steering is the same. Alright, so we got our rack pushed up out of the way. It slides up a pretty good ways. No issues there. Probably have to slide it up all the way past this little heat shield, because that little heat shield is gonna come down with the unit. Alright, so with that disconnected, and our steering disconnected, and all of our piping disconnected, the next stop is to take this whole frame out. We still have the steering lines connected up in here, but first thing we want to do, we got the motor held up on top, but we just want to make sure it isn't going to move. And so I'm going to put something right underneath this part of the, so we can support it here, pull this out, and then I can lower the jack down and make sure I got the motor held in position. But we'll have to remove that when we get ready to do the oil pan, because that's actually the bottom of the oil pan. All right, so we'll get set up now and see if we can drop this frame out.